Okay, there's many different types of players. There's the power hitters, your shot players, your agile players, your cagey players, and so on. There's so many different players with different capabilities. So every player has strengths and weaknesses and different muscle capabilities as well. So some are really strong and powerful, and others are quick and nimble, so they'll just zip around the court really fast. You need to understand your body type, and you need to understand your opponent's body type. And that will basically let you establish a different type of game plan. You should have a couple of game plans, and today we're going to take a look at our agile player, their pros and cons. Right, so our agile player, they're really fast, nimble players, and they get around the court really quick. So they tend to put a bit of pressure on you because of their speed to the front of the court. And because of their slightness generally, which makes their muscles move really, really fast, they tend to be really fit at a time playing lots of matches where they're actually using their speed. So they become very, very flexible. That means they usually have a really good lunge, and they're really, really quick at the front of the court. So that flexibility also happens when the ball's behind them. They can reach behind them and get hold of the ball without too much trouble. So that makes a massive difference as well. Doing that, they tend to be really a little bit more wristy, because they end up having to reach and stretch a little bit more, and they rely on their speed so much that they can use their wrist a little bit to get out of trouble as well. They recover quite quickly, so they're very, very fast to move forward and then return back, or get down low and then return up to be able to go for the next shot. So their strike between the time between their strike and their recovery is very, very, very fast. And they tend to be the sort of players that never give up. In other words, when the going gets really, really tough, they knuckle down and just get stuck into it, and just continue to push their body to the limit, often diving across the court and so on, because they work on the theory that they are super, super fast. They use angles, and they deflect a lot because they've got that strong wrist. They love to attack. They just attack as much as they possibly can, and the retrieval is just one of their major, major, major assets. The front court becomes a real area of speed because it's so much faster at the front court. They love the front court. In other words, they can place the ball at the front and cover whatever you may dish up as their opponent. The fast lunges is the one that I mentioned before, where it's just an absolute winner for being able to reach and just placing that little drop shot, or to lunge and go for the lob. They love to counterpunch. Now, counterpunching is just a wonderful skill to have. So they can be on absolute full extension, be in real trouble, and still play attack that position. And that makes them really, really dangerous and really tough if you don't play quality shots. So if you play poor open shots out in the middle of the court, they'll take advantage of that really, really quickly, and especially at the front of the court. So there you go. They are the pros for an agile player. It's they're a tough opponent to play if they're on song, but if they're having a bad day, they're often not that difficult to play as well. So let's take a look at the weaknesses of the agile player. Now, the agile player has many, many weaknesses, and you can exploit these weaknesses as long as you understand how to do it. So they often rush their shots because they're so fast. They spend all the time running to the ball without getting a good body, strong position. And so what happens is that results in the flick, and it results in the ball just not being hit as well as they wanted to hit it. They had a good idea what they want to do, but it doesn't really happen. They tend to be a little bit impatient in that they don't rally out. They like to attack, and they like to go for shots, and they like to move the ball around, and so they don't tend to like to just rally down the wall forever and then wait for that opportunity. They'd rather make something happen. They lack strength a little bit because a lot of these sort of players tend to be sort of slight build, and the speed and agility is the slight build. That's where it comes from, and the strength is not their big area of a massive ability, and so they have to work really hard to build the strength required in certain areas. They often hit off balance, and that's because of that body position where they go fast and low and drop their body really quickly and so on, and so they'll hit off balance very often. They've got low target outcomes, not generally all the time, but if you can push them around and you've got enough quality to be able to push them around, then you'll find out that they'll often put the ball out in the middle of the court. Often they don't care because they're that fast that they can cover whatever comes up. And a lot of these players just pride themselves on the fact that they are so fast that it doesn't matter if they hit a poor shot, they'll still track the next one down. They won't defend. They'll just attack and attack and attack. If they have to defend, they'll defend for a little while, but then they'll often fall back into the trap of just wanting to attack, because that's what they generally, all this is general, it's what they like to do and that's what they work to do. So they concentrate on speed and not accuracy. So it's all about taking the ball early, so you can take them apart with quality shots, putting the ball behind them, keeping them off balance all the time. You'll find the lack of power and the lack of target hitting will really open up some real opportunities for you to be able to put them under some real stress and really knock them around, and you'll be able to hit clean winners. So you need to ask yourself a few questions before every match. Are you stronger or weaker than your opponent? Are you faster or slower than your opponent? Are you fitter than your opponent? Are you better at the front or the back of the court than your opponent? What is their normal game plan? And then you need to make a game plan A and a game plan C to use if you need to. You start with your normal game plan, and then you go to game plan A and game plan B if you have to. Play to your strengths, and then you will have the best chance of winning. So now you know how to tackle an agile player.